There we go. It is a 1/8 Allen key. So yeah, just take that. Doesn't really matter where you start, just gotta take them all out anyway. They're also all pretty much the same size. The only different ones are going to be your two small ones here in the rail. These ones here, yeah, these are your smaller ones. All the R ones are going to be the same size, except for this one here at the top, which is going to be longer than the rest. But other than that, though, it really doesn't matter what goes where. Just loosen these guys up. Okay. But yeah, just to kind of, I don't know, go over some of the stuff that everybody else is always talking about with the TPX. I personally haven't had too much of a problem with it. I've had good days and I've had bad days. I've had days on even scenario games where I'm walking around carrying CO2 and paint in it all day, and I've had no problems. Other times I'll go into a game and the first shot your paint breaks. More often than not, I'm using Draxis, which especially this year, just kind of due to early starting season, at least here in Canada. I guess there's a rush or something on their paint, so it's not curing, not giving enough time to cure, and it's just kind of harder than it normally would be. So right now I haven't had too many problems with breakage into TPX. It's actually been a little more consistent than last year and actually getting shots off. But like I said, I have had more than enough times where you'll pull it out and your first shot will blow up. So let's crack this baby open. You're gonna have a little hook here. Just kind of push, holding it like this. Push your right hand up a bit to unhook it, and then just split it. Once you do that, I put these fingers up here on the metal sheath, and then one finger on the safety, or rather the thumb on the safety, and then just with your right hand pull up on the clamshell, and it should just come right off. Everything's still intact. One thing to watch out for is, nice, I already shifted the parts. Oh well. Yeah, the window up at the top here does like to come off. Just watch out for that. Make sure it doesn't go somewhere where you really don't want it to. Alright, so just push that back. Sheath comes right out. This guy here you can just take out if you want, if it makes it easier for you. Then from there, there's not too much left. Just move that up. Chamber comes right off. See? From there we have your detent and some parts that don't want to come off. There we go. So yeah, you got your spring, you got your shock absorber there, and your bolt, of course. So more often than not, all I do is take a bit of grease. A lot of people will, especially in woods ball, tend to use like oil. For the TPX, I would recommend actually using a lubricant. A lubricant like, not that I'm getting paid by them, but I'll throw it in there as well. Hater Marmalade. Only reason why I recommend this is because it is a thick lube, probably actually the thickest lube you can get on the market. And that's especially good for the TPX because it's known for being really rough on paint. Something else I've found it to be really rough on is the O-ring on the bolt here. When the air goes through the bolt, kind of have a working theory that it makes this O-ring expand. So when it's going, here I'll just get my chamber here. When it's going into the chamber, what's happening is when that O-ring expands, you probably should be able to see the end of the bolt there, hopefully. When it expands and it goes past that hole, the O-ring is between the bolt and the chamber. So that creates a pinch on the O-ring, which after especially you shot it a couple times, you're bound to chip the O-ring, and then you have leaking and other inconsistencies, which just leads to more problems. So yeah, so I found that lube helps, the weight of it helps to keep that O-ring down, and it's going to last a lot longer, especially as a sidearm, unless you're using it as a primary. You're not going to have to take care of it as often, especially the Hater Marmalade. You know, it should last a long time before you have to actually re-grease it, unless you get a barrel break or something. So I'm not going to do it right now because I just lubed this thing this season, but pretty much just take some of your lube and just coat it on here. You don't want it too thick or too thin either. Just coat some on there, coat some on your power tube, and there's that O-ring, so it goes on front of the power tube. And even throw some on the bumper here and some on the spring, just kind of, it helps everything to move with a little less friction, I find. So then from there, set your detent preferably in the right direction. Okay. Put your bolt and your spring and all that good stuff on there. And then put your breech back on. Now, everybody has their own way of doing this. This is just how I do it. I line that up, and then I just kind of set the parts down in. From there, I'll take the sheath and just kind of pop it in there. And then if you want, just have a look, make sure you can see your detent up there, which you can, and you're pretty well set. Parts might pop out, hopefully they won't. Put this guy for your CO2 back in. That's really it. Just make sure everything's seated down nicely. It might pop up a bit because of the spring tension, but just kind of make sure that, you know, everything lines up with one another, that looks like it's in about the right spot. Because last thing you want to do, especially on a field, is to crack the sucker open again. Okay. So from here, what you're going to have to do is put this clamshell back on. This guy here for releasing the clip is going to be your worst enemy for this part. What I find to work best, and of course I don't have one right with me. Oh yes I do, I lied. Is a little Allen key. Or may I lied about lying. There we go. So yeah, so just take a small Allen key, and what I do is I'll hold this guy down with the Allen key. Ideally. Then you're going to put this guy back on. Just kind of place it over. Make sure your safety pin's in. You had this pulled back towards that direction, and it should just go right on down. Don't force it down too much because remember that clip that we had down here? Don't want to snap it. You probably won't, but just better safe than sorry. Just fit that over. And then you should just push down on it a bit, and everything should just really go back on its own. If you have any real trouble, don't force it. You're better off just opening it up, seeing if there's anything in the way, than forcing it down and just creating problems that really 2 seconds to just take a look could have avoided.